feels like to be different. But you don't know what it's like to be in a war. It changes you more than any mutant power ever could.
X-Men and video games have had a long, lovely history together, and we're seeing a brand new interpretation of it. And here to tell us about that is Zac. Zac, X-Men Destiny. What do we need to know?
Well, X-Men Destiny sets you off with 3 new mutants in the X-Men universe, and you're pretty much taking their what it's like to discover a new mutant power and taking it through to mastering it. Okay.
Introducing new characters into the X-Men fold. It's quite an interesting sort of concept to do. What sort of setup did you have with Marvel? Was it a case of you guys sort of like produced some concepts, brought it to them, or was there sort of like any sort of relationship between what they wanted to see as well?
Okay, yeah, working with Marvel was awesome. It was a lot of back and forth, but ultimately they gave us a lot of creativity on the new mutant powers and the new characters. We actually worked with Mike Carey on the backstories for everything, so it was really, really fun.
And trying to find like new superpowers for mutants these days. Tell us what each character will be touting when players get the hands on with it.
Cool. I was actually very hands-on in designing those. So what we did was we actually took archetypes from your classic RPG. We have a range class, a tank class, and a damage dealing class. And the challenge was really taking that and folding it over into a mutant power that Marvel has set up. So our range class is energy projection, for instance.
And what's the sort of scope of the game? I mean, what locations will we see? With new characters, do we see new locales? Or are you going to see maybe some classic villains, classic locales?
Oh, you are going to see tons of X-Men and tons of Brotherhood throughout the game. So it's set in San Francisco. It's a bit post-apocalyptic. I won't spoil anything. But, I mean, you see a new Chinatown. People are trying to repopulate a destroyed city. You see secret labs. There's big, huge, epic fights on top of buildings. I don't want to give away too much. So.
Oh my God. Co-op play, yes?
No, single player. We wanted to focus on the story, and we wanted to bring you through the X-Men universe.
And obviously, you sort of mentioned the RPG elements. So how does that factor into the gameplay?
Tons. So it's an action RPG, and we have an X-Gene system, and what that is you can take your favorite X-Men abilities and fold them over onto your character. So you pick a character, you pick a base power, and then throughout the game you're actually swapping out different abilities. So I'd call it combat customization, really.
And these characters are really just starting out in life. They're sort of finding their way, which is always the quintessential sort of X-Men storyline. Yeah. Obviously enough, the mutants that we're all know and love, Cyclops, Wolverine and stuff like that, they feel a bit older now, almost like, because whilst that Marvel continuity can never quite factor in 70 years into 10, 20 years, but what sort of audience do you think this is sort of like aiming for? Is it the X-Men audience? Do you want to bring in a new market into it?
Well, it's really both. So if you're really into comic books, we have a really super accessible system that's pretty deep, and a manageable RPG system, so it's not too overwhelming. And for gamers, there's tons and tons of Marvel and X-Men content, so like a gamer that doesn't necessarily know about the X-Men universe can really learn a lot. I know I've learned a lot, even just making it.
Now, okay, I do want to remain spoiler-free, like you said. There's not too much you can say, but you sort of said post-apocalyptic, which does bring something to X-Men fans. Is there elements of, I'm trying to work out how to say this, we'll make it as spoiler, is there elements of classic X-Men storylines here, or are you just going for an all-new?
There are definitely, if you read the comics, there are definitely twists and relationships and the depth of that in the game. In terms of post-apocalyptic, I'll dive right into it. Professor Xavier has just recently died. The school is down, and the X-Men have moved to San Francisco. And the world's kind of going through a weird phase where crops are dying, earthquakes are happening, there's all these natural disasters, and the media is actually blaming mutants for it. So that's where the game starts off.
I have to say, killing off the mentor of the X-Men's a pretty ballsy move, isn't it? I mean, even the films didn't do that until the third one, so again, did Marvel have to okay that, or were they okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but we all know Mike Carey is awesome at really unfolding an X-Men story, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, well, just to conclude, is there anything else you feel like fans should know, and maybe is there anything that fans of the action RPG should know to come to this?
If you love X-Men and you're into the comics, you'll get tons through that. If you like action games and fighting games, you can pick up this system, and that depth is really there for people to find. And if you like RPGs, that's all there. You can grind, you can spend experience, you can really customize your character, and that's what we really want the players to do. We give you the tools, and we really want you to make your X-Men experience in the universe.
Listen, thank you very much indeed for your time. Best of luck with it.
The line between right and wrong blurs. It's hard to see the greater impact of your every choice. No matter where your ultimate loyalty lies, always remember, your genes don't decide your destiny. You do.